Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today I've got another video. It's not unfortunately my follow-up that I wanted to do on the backwards compatible Xbox One X and the Series X, which I wanted to make a few clarifications before I dive into this video. But I have a video I wanted to make about 20 top games to get for the Xbox 360 or reasons to buy or to have that must have an Xbox 360 in 2022. In fact, I'm probably going to take it up a notch to 25 or 30 games just because I can, because there's so many that make it worthwhile. Many people think, oh, you get more than enough backwards compatible games. Who cares about 4 or 5 games I can't play? Well, there's a lot more than that in my book. There's some really good gems that I've really enjoyed playing over the years and have played a couple times and certainly look forward to playing again. That may really make having them warranted, enough so to where I wanted not just one but a backup as well. That way I can save 500 gigs of all my games with DVD or heavy DLC and expansion packs and stuff like that I can save on one of them. And then the other one I can just save games that you can play straight to the hard drive that don't have any extras or that you don't even necessarily have to have updates. Just put them right in. So I've got a plan in mind. It's 1,000 gigabytes of Xbox 360 goodness, on top of the backwards compatibility. And who knows, down the road, the backwards compatibility, or if something happens with the servers, or they just do away with it. I mean, stranger things have happened. And you're not going to be able to play all of these Max Payne 3 and Medal of Honor, Airborne, and so many great games. Dead to Rights, the first one, stuff like that. But, if you have the original Xbox and Xbox 360, you can always play them. To me, it's really worth having an Xbox 360 and a PlayStation 3, I might add. So I want to do that video justice, and I'm going to do that one real soon, hopefully next week. I'm going to try to do these one per week from here on out. I've just been inundated with, my wife had something happen in the family, and she had to fly down to LA, and so it was pretty hectic. I had to watch the house from, and take care of her mother-in-law and her cats for a while they were down there in Southern California. So it just made making a video and even being able to comment and plus work on top of that, kind of tricky. So I do these when I can, but I'm getting to the point where I can kind of control my schedule and do them more frequently and hopefully get back to one. So I usually do like 50, 55 a year videos, and I've been far, frankly far short of that this last 2 years for a lot of health reasons and just technical logistics and stuff. But anyway, today I want to do something going into really big pickups that I've got. This may be one of the last big ones I'm going to have for some time. I had already done one on my strategy guides I bought recently. Well, I've got a substantial amount more of them, as well as a few gifts and games that I picked up as well that I've really wanted badly for my collection. So it's ought to be a really good video. I will just add to follow up to kind of just go over what I had talked about in my last video on backwards compatibility. Immediately, a lot of people liked it, and of course you're always going to get people who are triggered. You don't know what you're talking about. You can play the games offline and all this. My point is that I play these games to play the backwards compatibility with wonderful games like this, which I played this morning on the last level of this, which is tough. And I can play. I've been playing on the 360, and I found a way. My friend Jeremy told, "Oh, Dean, it's easy. You can just upload all your Xbox 360 backwards compatible game saves to the cloud, and then the minute you play the game on your Xbox One X or Series X, it automatically pulls it from the cloud, and you instantly have left off at Chapter 5 or 12 or wherever you're left out, which I like." And believe me, I have no problem replaying this from the beginning. It's a fantastic game, one of the best of the last really good World War II. In fact, it is the last World War II Medal of Airborne. I think they got a new VR thing, which is Return to World War II, which is pretty cool since that's where the series originated. But this is a great game. But to play this on my Xbox One, which it looks and plays wonderful on it, I have to be online. You cannot play it offline. You can play it offline, but after you get through about 5 levels, don't plan on saving your progress if you're offline. You cannot save your... So to me, it's an always online console, because without the backwards compatibility, I probably would pass on the Xbox One X and the Series X. As nice a console as they are, because the PlayStation 4 Pro, those games are in my hard drive. I don't have to screw with the cloud. I can play them offline, all of them, and I'm finding ways to get the updates and hang on to them. I'm doing a lot of research on that. So, because I look at this as a longevity. When I was young, who cared? You can get the PlayStation 1, had piles of games. The minute the PlayStation 2 came out, fuck this, and just trade it in with piles of games, and who cares? I played them all. I want something new, and that's great. And then you want to play PS3 and all that. But eventually I got to the point when I got right around the 360, I started missing some of those older games. You won't get this way until you're older, and then you'll regret it. I was just like you guys. Who played it once? Great game, whatever. On to the next one. Who cares? But the day's going to come where you're going to regret, you're going to reminisce, and you're going to, God, it's a shame I can't even play that game anymore. You can't get it, or you can't even play it on PC anymore. You can't get it to run good on the modern PCs, like the Blade Runner game and other ones. I think someone finally found a way, or they made a remastered version of that to where you can play it on PC now, supposedly. But there's a lot of older games that's just really hard to play on Windows 8, 10, 11, 12, 29, whatever the hell it is now. So, but that was one thing I wanted to clarify. I mean, maybe technically you can play the Xbox, the original Xbox games offline, certainly, and save your progress right to the Xbox One X hard drive, and I think you can save them to the Series X hard drive as well, internal hard drive. But of course, you can't get an external hard drive, like you can for the One X with the Series X. But I think they do have an internal thing you can augment that gives you obviously more terabytes or whatever, which makes sense. But that was my point. A lot of people attack me for that, and it's like, well, yeah, no, I understand, but to me, I play that One X. I like the new games and State of Decay 1 and 2, that's great, but I primarily want it for this. And and I like the One X. I would get it just for maybe a half a dozen really good, and I love Crackdown 3, I've only played the very beginning of it just to see the graphics, but I certainly can get into some of the newer games on the One X, and Quantum Break I'm anxious to play. It took about 18 days to install the thing. It was massive, but whatever. So that was my issue with that. I just wanted to clarify that you really, for me, it's an always online console. If you're going to save your progress on your game, some of the modern ones I think as well, you really need to be in the cloud to save your progress and constant updates and what have you. So I wanted to to make that point. There were some games. Now, Grand Theft Auto, the Definitive Edition, when it first came out, I bought it for the PlayStation 4 for my PS4 Pro, and just bought the digital ones because later they were going to come out with the physical versions, December 11th or 7th. I don't remember what it was, but it was early December, I believe. And I pre-ordered it for the Xbox One, since I already had the digital one. There's no point in getting, another digital game. Might as well just have the box, if nothing else. Because I love GTA. I wanted to support the fact that they made the trouble to make a definitive edition, which I'm one of the 25 people that actually likes the series and the game, the new ones. And by the way, they've patched them all to hell now. They are perfect. They look perfect. They perform perfect. But back in the beginning, they played better on the Xbox One X than on the Series X. That's a fact. And they even better on the PS4 Pro, if you can believe it, than the wonderful Series X. So, and there were two other games. My brain can't remember. I'm having memory problems lately. But there were two other games that it was the same dynamic. They actually played better on the One X than they did on the Series X. Now, that might have been an optimization thing. Maybe after 1, 2, or 6 patches, like in Mad Max, maybe they fixed that and they played better, on the Series X. But Xbox did lie. They said that all backwards compatible games would look and play much better on the Series X than any other system before it. And it's just simply not true. There are a handful of them that are enhanced, and they look great. Maybe we should just be happy with those. So there's been a little bit of, they've kind of told some white lies, we'll just mildly put it that way. And believe me, I would like to get a Series X and a PS5 if I can, and I'll enjoy it for the seasons that I have it. And if it goes offline in 5, 6, 7 years, well, that's what it is. At least I've enjoyed it for its backwards compatibility, and I got to play Quantum Break and a few other modern Gears Tactics and ones that I'm anxious to play on the Xbox One X or Series X. But And I certainly love the power and the graphics and all that. That's fantastic. But a lot of the game, I'm very selective with the games I play. I don't really play a lot of hack and slash games, and I'm really not into a lot of the genres and Final Fantasy. No offense to those that like those outstanding series that are very popular, but I have my RPGs I'm very particular about, and there are other ones I could care less about. You know, same with hack and slash games by and large. Same with anything like a medieval games or Fable. A lot of those, and they look interesting, but they just aren't for me. You know, stuff like that. So anyway, just to get that off my chest, to clarify, you know, some of my positions on the backwards compatibility. But now I'll get right into this. My good friend Jeremy, who's been a huge help in helping me getting, and I sent him a handful, 3 or 4 strategy guides lately. Again, because my memory's so bad, I've actually bought 4 strategy guides in 3 games in the last year that I already bought. I used to have a perfect memory of my 5,000 plus movies and TV shows I have on VHS and DVD. I can remember when I bought them, where I bought them from, Virgin Records, you know, Dimples, Tower Records, Best Buy. I knew where I bought them. I knew, you know, I paid $21.95 for this one. This was an expensive $35.99 special director's cut. I mean, I could remember the price, what I paid, what year I bought them, of thousands of games and movies. That's how good my memory was. And I've had some things which I'll discuss in a health video at some point here that radically destroyed my memory, my short-term memory. To where, I mean, I went to work and my boss and I were talking. I said, "Oh, you should have been at the meeting I was at yesterday. It was really interesting. We're going to have to make some real changes in our department." He goes, "Dean, I was sitting right next to you. Don't you remember?" And I mean, this is how bad my memory has gotten. Now, it's getting better now. I found a way to fix part of it. It's improved maybe 20% of the radical drop-off the cliff that it went. And it's going in the right direction, but it may never come back. So I have great memories of 1966, watching, you know, Hogan's Heroes with my grandfather and the lighting and everything. I can remember things like I was there in the 60s and 70s with no problem. But what I ate yesterday, I couldn't tell you quite often. It's tragic. It's sad, and it affects my job performance at times when I've been in stride. That's why I got to write everything down now, or I write it in my phone so I can check it. Oh, okay, good, you know. But anyway, just to clarify that. So because of that, anyway, I bought extra strategy guides, and you know, I could just sell them online or whatever, but I'd rather give them to friends that need them or don't have them. And I know Jeremy's on the quest to get the strategy guides like me. So I said, "Dude, do you have these?" "Oh no, I'd love to have them here. I'll send them to you. It's the least I can do." So he's been such a huge help in helping me with this stuff. So anyway, he sent me a few things. Again, a second package along the way. In fact, I have another thing over there which I'll show in a minute. But so he sent me 2 strategy guides. He sent a huge box of strategy guides, but he sent me 2 that I wasn't expecting. One of those is the State of Emergency, and I didn't even know I had this. I said, "Oh, dude, that's great. I'm going to have to buy that game now and add it to my collection." I go out in my garage and look, and I bought this game years ago. I'm like, God, I mean, again, I spaced out, forgot it. So Jeremy, thank you for this. It's a great condition, too. I've never played the State of Emergency 1 or 2. I think the second one is maybe a PlayStation exclusive, if I remember right. But the first one, I believe, was on the original Xbox. Yeah, which it is. So I love this. I'm trying to collect all the Rockstar strategy guides from many of their games. I love their games, most of them. He sent me this wonderful, I already have this paperback edition, but he sent me a really nice collector's edition of Batman Arkham Knight. And I also have a hardbound one of Batman Arkham Origins, which I bought and pre-ordered. But Jeremy, thank you very much. It's a really handsome book, and I'm very proud to put this in my collection. I'll certainly have to find one of my friends that wants, you know, if you've never had one of you guys want to send me a text or, you know, message or something, "Hey, Dean, I'd love to have that Batman Arkham, you know, collector's edition." It's like brand new. I've only gone through it once. And I've got the same book, but it's paperback. It's quite nice. Anyway, he sent me those, and he sent me some games. I was not expecting at all. And he showed this in a pickups video and in a gameplay video, and I was really impressed. And that's a PS2 game called Made Man. I thought I had every Mafia game there is, including the original Mafia game on the original Xbox. I never played the PC port of it. But this is a great game. This is from the mind of the acclaimed crime author David Fisher, good author. in the mouth of a notorious mafia insider. Now, ironically, the main character is voiced by the guy that played in Mafia 2. I think his name was Vincent, if I remember right. The character in the Mafia 2 game, which is one of my absolute favorite games on the Xbox 360. And I got the definitive edition digitally in my PlayStation 4 Pro hard drive. But anyway, it looks like a great game. It says, in the golden age of organized crime, loyalty is the family name from the jungles of Vietnam. So it actually has a lot of flashbacks to Nam, which I was instantly hooked as an ex-Vietnam veteran myself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that old, guys. Anyway, from the jungles of Vietnam to the territorial streets of New York, climb the mafia ranks as Joey Varola. Good name. Maybe I'll name my next cat that. I named my other one, my present one, Vinnie Corleone, from the Corleone family, naturally. And now you're in it. There's only one way out. And it says, wield powerful weapons simultaneously for twice the respect. It's my kind of game. Choose from more than 25 authentic tools of the trade. Survive 17 intense locations throughout 3 decades of the family's most powerful history. This is my kind of game. Jeremy, thank you so much for this. I really was very moved and touched by this. I was so impressed with it. It's kind of hard to get. You can find a couple of them online on eBay, but not too many. It's hard to find. Some you can find the disc, but not the full, complete game. This one, you know, has a nice manual, a clean game, everything. It's really a very cool game. Jeremy on his channel, and I'll leave a link to his channel below because it's worth sharing. You guys, you want really good vlogs with great topics the way I used to do them one time when I actually made videos consistently. He does great videos. He takes the time to show games each week. Every Friday he shows what he's been playing every week. This is someone that he has a complete North American original Xbox collection. I think he has all but 4 N64 games. He's got a lot of complete collections, and he's working on getting many of those other ones. He's got tons of variants of every variant of an Xbox game, from greatest hits and a rare one and a PAL one and one that was, you know, he likes to collect games. He loves games. He's very passionate. The difference is he was smart. He saved every game that he bought early on, including his old, you know, N64 games and stuff, where I was too quick. Oh, yeah, they're great, but yeah, I'm on to the next thing, you know. Here, dude, here's all my C64 games and floppy disk and the C64 in perfect working order in the original packaging. I mean, that's just the way I was. I've always given my stuff to others and, you know, spread the wealth and enjoy it. And I'm happy to do that. And I don't regret that. I just kind of think back now, and some of the games are so expensive, I really think twice about buying them back. But anyway, it looks really good. Rampage through enemy fire with poetic precision using kill rush feature. So basically what it has is it has the Max Payne kind of bullet time gimmicks throughout it, and it looks really cool. It's got some, you can see some of the back of it here. It's a great game, and Jeremy a few weeks ago showed some actual gameplay from this. I think maybe once, I don't know, maybe twice, I can't remember. Really cool. And I'm like, wow, where the hell have I been all this time in this game? Not a stellar game, more of like a double-A game, but to me, it's an outstanding game. And if you're a PS2 collector, you can't get it on the Xbox, PC, or PlayStation 2 only. He also sent me some blank Xbox 360 game cases. I have some that are like in DVD black cases, and I'm slowly going through, and I've only got like 2 original Xbox ones that are in black cases. I need to find the original Xbox blank case, maybe buy a couple cheap $1.99 sports games that have good cases, and I'll swap the cases out. So, Jeremy, thank you for these, bud. And he sent me these very cool Star Trek cards. He collects these. These were doubles that he had of the original series. Each one is just wonderful graphics. Very cool. I don't want to sit and go through all of these, but really nice. And then on the back of each one, it's got all the information on the episode and what made that particular one cool or whatever. I have an original Star Trek compendium of all 79 original episodes. Goes over each one, problems they had with production, cast members that were or weren't getting along, fornication on the set, that kind of stuff. Really good and juicy details. What else? So anyway, that's just a few gifts. Oh, and he sent me this, and I didn't know what this was. I feel so embarrassed. I said, is this a Yoda, dude? He sent me this really cute plushie thing. And he says, oh, dude, that's Baby Yoda. And I go, so this is 900 years ago what he looked like, I guess. So I guess, and I didn't even know this comes from the Mandalorian TV show. All I've ever seen is the Clone Wars animated, kind of Pixar animated series, which I have all of, including the original pilot, and I have all of the Star Wars Rebels, which I also sent Jeremy a complete set of those on DVD. Brand new, this is, I think, made by Disney, or the Mandalorian thing. But so apparently, the Mandalorian must take place 900 years in the past, when I guess he was a baby Yoda. So thank you for this. You can always see Jeremy used to have 3 of these in the set in the back. Now we'll have 2, and he said when you see 2, you'll know that you've got the 3rd one. So very kind of you. I've got a bunch of plushies. I got a Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Black Panther with a little Tomb Raider collar around the neck. I've got, other statues from Doom and Far Cry 4 and, stuff like that. I've got a few other stuffed animal, game-related items too. But, Jeremy, thank you very much, bud. Those are really nice gifts, very unexpected. You did send me a few games that I asked for. One of them was this 187 Ride or Die for my Xbox collection. I saw it. Someone said, oh, this is a car combat game, dude, you gotta get for your collection. Watch a video. I'm like a top 10 thing. Like, wow, where the hell was this? It's kind of a very cliche tropes of gangbanger. Right after the whole GTA San Andreas, there was a rash of these. 50 cents, I guess, did one. Now those are worth a lot of money. Those 50-cent Xbox games. I'm typically not into the gang. That's why I didn't like the GTA, because I went through the whole LA riots and the latter ones we had in the early 90s, and it was, I lived right on the edge of the jungle, and I was afraid for my life, as I talked about a couple of years ago in a video. So I'm not real thrilled to kind of embrace this type of in-your-face violence and vulgarity and all that. I understand the culture, and I certainly know a lot of people are in underprivileged situations, and they don't see any way out but fighting through fists, knives, or guns, and I get it. But I do like that it's kind of like an LA theme thing, and it's car combat. So basically, it's like GTA meets Twisted Metal. You've got full auto, the old original Xbox 360, launch game. So it's very cool. You get like rocket launchers and machine guns, and there's not the greatest array of cars. There's SUVs and lowriders and some sports car type deals, but it looks like Drive, Blast, Rule. It's really kind of a cool car combat game. It looks really neat, and this is a really clean copy of it too. And thank you, Jeremy, for helping me find this. They're relatively available. It's not the most expensive game, but it's it's going up in price. So I'm trying to get these games before they get expensive. And there's one I was missing. I thought I had them all, and Jeremy said, "Dude, you have all but one. You're missing one." And I said, "Well, could you find it for me?" And he found it like that. And I have all the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon games and all the Rainbow Six games. If there's one that I was missing, that's Rainbow Six Critical Hour. So now I have all the Critical Hour things. I've got all of the Advanced Warfighter Tom Clancy games. I'm trying to get every Tom Clancy game. I need to get End War for the I'm N64 for the Xbox 360. But it's a really cool Rainbow Six game. Oh, there goes the desk. Luckily, I got a nice carpet down here to protect it from hitting the epoxy floor. But so Jeremy, thank you for that. Yeah, all the little inside pieces broke out of the hub, so that's why it popped out. It happens with these cases. Case looks great, but sometimes the inside some get broken out. So it's nice having this. I only got just a couple games, a couple at a time, and I'm happy with those. I don't need too many more. I have pretty much what I want, but I certainly have 2 or 3 dozen more games I'd like to get from PlayStation 1, N64, PS2, and a couple PlayStation 3 games. Not too many, maybe 2 or 3. But anyway, getting on with it. Let me take a little drink here. Getting on with my strategy guides. This wraps up my guide collection. Now, I still have a list of maybe a dozen to 15 guides I'd like to get, ideally. 2 of them I want really bad. The other ones, I could take them or leave them, but I'd like to get them. I slowly keep adding. I was thinking, I never even thought about this. I'd like to have a guide for that, and I'll write it down, or maybe the sequel to it as well. I always check to see if a game has a guide. Quite often they didn't have them. Or they came late, like the game Syndicate on the Xbox 360. They had a guide initially, only online, and then later, who knew, they finally printed one, Prima finally made one. This isn't real beer, it's root beer. So I can't drink alcohol anymore, so I'm trying to, and I drink like diet root beer. It's probably not great with the aspartame and all that stuff, but better than drinking the calories. I'm on this keto diet, by the way. A doctor says, Dean, you're going to die. Your heart rate is, way up. Your blood pressure's sky high, on the verge of a stroke. You've got to lose this obesity. It's a cause of your sleep apnea. It's a cause of a lot of your health problems. And you're starting to show wear and tear in your kidneys now. You've really got to turn your health around. So I've lost some weight since even the last video, maybe 15 pounds. So I'm dropping. It comes off fast. You just eliminate bread and sugar, carbs basically from your diet, which I was eating a hell of a lot of. Tons of pasta, tons of toast, bread, cereal. I just eat stuff that's quick and easy. Here, I'll make a huge bowl of Raisin Bran that's giant, and eat the whole thing. And then I come down, I'm shaking with hypoglycemia 2-3 hours later, and I'm like, then I go out and get, a candy bar or something to eat to get that sugar fix to calm back down. And it's killing me. I'm on like a pre-diabetic. I'm like on the verge. He said, you're going to have to go on insulin next if you don't stop. You got to do something. He said, I recommend a stomach surgery. We remove 60% of your stomach, and it'll cut a lot of the nerves going to your head, which tells you you're hungry, and it will help you if you're interested in having it done. And I said, is there anything else I can do? And he said, well, I can recommend a really good nutritionist, and I know your wife is looking to lose a few pounds. She's like maybe 10, 12, 15 pounds overweight in her eyes. To me, she looks great, but whatever. And so we both went. We have to see her each month, and we're reporting our progress. And I'm learning what to eat and what not to eat, and how much to eat and when to eat, and that kind of stuff. So, you got to learn. Even at 59, you got to learn new things. I got to turn around, or I'm not going to last. So I've had a lot of health problems. I'll do a video just on my health. I've only given you the tip of the iceberg. I've had a lot of really serious problems. The 2 years I've been here have been wonderful and have been terrible at the same time because of it, sadly. But anyway. You're not here for that. Here's the first one. He already got me in my last big pile of strategy guides, the original Driver strategy guide. He knew I wanted Driver 2, so he found me Driver 2. There's actually two different variations of this, one made by another company, which I didn't even know about, which I think Jeremy has. But this was a great game. When I was in a head-on car collision and was out of the hospital for 5 months straight, I was busted up really bad. Glass cuts, fractured skull, 2 torn discs in my neck, the atlas, my top vertebrae crammed up inside the base of my skull. I hit the A-pillar so hard, blood all over the place, seatbelt cut through my collarbone, fractured ribs, sprained my left wrist going through the side window, glass cuts all over my left hand and arm. Glass cuts all over my chest and face. It was a mess. I look fine now, and just adds to the scars make guys look good. Luckily Laura was in the wreck too. She just had some fractured ribs and glass cuts only, just a couple of them. She looks great. Thank God that I took the brunt of it. But I was in rough shape because the impact was on my side. And anyway, I played nothing but Driver. If you ever had a bad car crash, I played nothing but Driver 1 and 2 all the way through. And then went back and played my favorite levels over and over and over. The sound of the cars and tires squealing drove my mother-in-law nuts. I had to stay at her house because I had to be close to the hospital. She was right down the street. So it was tough times. I had to leave my cat, up in the high desert where my house was, and we'd drive up and check on him on Wednesday nights. My parents would be there weekends and feed him and change his box and everything. So it was tough. It was a very tough time. And the poor kid that hit me was 18, whose name was Dean, ironically, died, broke his neck and died. I watched him die right before my eyes. It was terrible. But I still couldn't get enough I just love cars and driving, and so this got me through it. Actually, it took my mind off the severe pain I went through at the time, and I'm still going through today from that wreck, ironically. But great game. Highly recommend. If you have a PlayStation 1, guys, get Driver 1 and 2. Very good games. Really good. Excellent cities. I think you're in Havana, Cuba. You're in Brazil. And then somewhere in the States. Chicago, I believe, on Driver 2. Really good. The first one's in San Francisco and some other cities. But it's just so nice to have these. And what's a shame is most of these, I had these at one time. And I just play, here, dude. Give them to friends or some of them I did sell back to the store, I think, as I buy something new. This one I've always wanted. Finally got the original Xbox game, The Thing. and it came with a giant poster, really cool poster that has like this thing monster in the back and the guys fighting it with flamethrowers. It's awesome. I'm going to frame the poster for this and then 2 other guides that had inner posters in them. Some of the guides, unfortunately, the posters were missing, like one of my favorite Tomb Raider guides, which I'll show, but it is what it is. I'm just happy to have the guides. It's nice to have the posters, and it's nice to get them in perfect condition if you can, but this is a very, very good game. It's relatively tough. You can find it fairly easy. I don't think it's too expensive. I don't know if it's cheaper on the PS2 or original Xbox. I don't know if it's on the GameCube. I don't think it is, but very good game. I played maybe a third of the way through, and it was so intense I had to stop playing it. It's very, very good. Very simplistic, rudimentary, looking back on it, like a very early 2001 or so, I'm guessing, game. But it's actual canon to the story. It's like a prequel to what happened up to John Carpenter's first film. A great game. Really worth having, and it's great having. The guide really helps with that game. You really need it. Crackdown, I had to have this. I could get the Crackdown 2 game. I'm not a big fan of Crackdown 2, so therefore I probably won't get that one. But I just wanted the first one, which I used to have. Again, another one I used to have. I never got rid of the game, but for some reason I either lost it or I gave it to a friend or something, a family member, it doesn't matter. I love this game. I have all the DLC for this. You can play the backwards compatible too, by the way. A great game. Just something about it. Mark Bussler, Classic Game Room, did a wonderful review of this, and he looked at the cover and said, this has got to be a shit game, and played it thinking the worst and was completely taken by it, and I am too. Very, very good game. Destroy All Humans 2. I have the first guide, and I need to get the Path of Furon for the Xbox 360. I think there's a guide for that. That'll be the next one I'll get. But the ones I wanted really bad were the 1 and 2. And they're going to be making a sequel to this, which will be a 9th gen exclusive. So sadly, I'm going to have to jump up to a Series X and or PlayStation 5 probably sooner rather than later, as this, the sequel to this, the reboot of this, and Warhammer. Oh, in fact, I have it right here. Here. The Space Marines game. Here's an extra booklet. For some reason, I got 2 booklets to this. So if any of you guys need an extra Space Marines booklet, I've got one. They're making a sequel to this from 2010, and it had kind of a cliffhanger ending, which we'd like it begged to have a follow-up, which you're hoping the next year or 2 you'd get it. It never came. I love Warhammer. I'm really getting into it now more and more, and I'm slowly collecting all the Warhammer games. Missing the PlayStation 1 one, and I think there's 2 on the PS4 I don't have, and there's a new one called Chaos Gate with the Silver Space Marines, or the Grey Knights Space Marines. It really looks good. Really good reviews on it and graphics on it. Very like a little top-down XCOM type game. Anyway, this is one I've been wanting to play. I've been reading through the strategy guide, but they're making a 9th gen only sequel to this, which I cannot wait. You can watch the trailer of it. It's very brief, but it's very cool. So really happy to have this. Thank you, Jeremy, for helping me find all of these. This is in great condition too. Just great stuff. Really covers. It takes place in San Francisco or London, England, maybe in a couple different cities. And I think it takes place in Europe too, but I've only played just a little bit of this one, but it's really good. The first one I went all over, upwards and backwards and forwards. Hitman 2 was the only one that I was missing. I have the Hitman Assassins, the first one. I've got the Blood Money guide, so now this completes all my Hitman. I got Hitman Absolution as well. So I have all of the original Hitman game guides now. So awesome to have this back in the collection. I had all 3 of these guides at one time. This Destroy All Humans I didn't have, 2, but I did have the first one. Prey. Here's a 2006 Prey game, and this game is a good one for a guide. There's a lot of hidden areas and really tough things that you combat. This game progressively gets harder and harder as you get into it. There was a fantastic sequel that was shown. It might have been 2010, 11, 12, 13 in there somewhere, where they showed a sequel to this that was mind-blowing. It looked like the Blade Runner. This guy was running through these Blade Runner type streets and platforming and in first-person mode. It looked very impressive. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, but we get the new one, which I've heard is quite good. This is a great guide to have. This game's tougher than a cheap steak on a date. So This is a game that I am so happy to have in my collection, and then Jeremy immediately found this. I got to buy a ton of DLC for this game, and that's Dante's Inferno. Really twisted. Everyone's, oh, it's a God of War ripoff, you know. Well, it's its own thing. It is very unique. It's very similar to God of War. A Devil May Cry, perhaps, in some respects, with some of the hack and slash type combat, but it's very cool. It's based on the Dante's Inferno book, and stories about the different levels of hell, each relating to a sin and gluttony and lust and all that stuff, you know, basically a hedonist like me. So so I gotta play a game like this to keep everything in perspective. So anyway, it's a great game. I'm dying to play this. I've seen nothing but great reviews of it, and I've always wanted to play it, and it's backwards compatible. Thank God. That, again, I'll say it again, if nothing else, Microsoft won my heart over with their backwards compatibility is because we can play games like this in probably better graphics and performance. You know the load times are going to be better, quality is going to be that much sharper, and so I'm dying to play this very soon. I do have it in the Xbox 360 installed too, just in case, but I think this is the last Splinter Cell, it is, guide that I was missing, so now I finally have it. Thanks, Bud, for helping me get this. Chaos Theory. Thank God. I think I had 2 of the 3 original Splinter Cell guides at one time, and I don't know what happened to them, but a great guide. And these particular games, having a guide is not a bad idea. There's some better ways to get through them, and you can read what you want to. You can try it on your own, then if you get stuck, that's what I do. I play it without looking at the guide. And then if I get stuck on a level and I got to replay the level or go back or whatever, then I'll kind of breeze the guy. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I should have taken it, maybe take a different route or try this tactic or whatever. Now, I already had the first Condemned Criminal Origins game, which is backwards compatible. Sadly, for whatever reason, the second one isn't. So I had to get the second one just again to have the whole set. That's what I'm trying to do. You'll see a theme as I'm finishing sets. I'm either getting whole sets of things I didn't have, or I'm completing sets of favorite series that I really enjoy. I haven't played the second one. I have played part of the first one. Really enjoyed. I play enough. Usually I'll put a game in and play like 1, 2, 3 chapters. Oh, this is great, you know, but I'm overwhelmed. My ADD, I jump around, so I'll pull it out. And when I'm ready, I'll sit down and play it all the way through. And then, of course, that day never comes. But I want the guides to play some of these harder games. And some of them have really good secrets and secret areas, which is very cool to see that. Here's one that's, you know, I bought the remastered version of this and was very disappointed with just a deluge of really bad reviews of how bad the performance was. They said, you're much better off playing the original one, so I doubled down and got the guide for the original 13 game. This is a very cool guide. I love the way the guide is laid out. It's got really, kind of like a comic strip, the way it's laid out inside. It's very cool. Oh, look, I missed a sticker. I left this one on. It's because it's on the back. It says EB Games. That was one of my favorite stores. I believe that became GameStop over time. I had one of these that had a Comp USA sticker on the back, and I immediately took my rubber cement thinner and took it off. In fact, I got a brand new can, 32-ounce can of rubber cement thinner. It cost me $28 with free shipping, but kind of pricey, but it'll last me for years. I'll get probably 4 or 5 years out of that can. This is an outstanding game. There were a couple improvements they made with the remastered version, but 85% of it wasn't really any better, and maybe not even as good as the original. So I'm dying to play this. In fact, I had this installed on my modded Xbox so I can play it. It's waiting for the guide. So there's some hard areas in that. That game gets tough, deeper into it. Now I'm collecting all of the GTA guides. I've got all of the original GTA Trilogy guides, which I found right before I moved here about 3-4 years ago, right when Dimples closed. Someone had just turned him in, you know, Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. And I go, oh, thank God, there they are. And I got all 3. And I gave all those guides away, too. But I never had the PSP games that were ported to the PlayStation 2. So my last batch, I got the Liberty City Stories one. Now I finally have the Vice City Stories. Now, what people don't realize is that there's 2 different guides for this game. One is for the PSP, and one is for the PlayStation 2, which has a couple extra levels of things in it. So they look identical on the surface, but you got to read way down at the bottom. It'll say PlayStation 2 or whatever, and the other one is for the PSP. So now I finally have the original Trilogy and GTA 4 and 5 guides. The 5th one, I've got a real nice hardbound book. It's one of my favorite guides. I'm so happy to have. These are getting expensive, guys. If you're going to get these, get them sooner rather than later. They are going up. I paid more for this than I really wanted to, but it is what it is. I'm just happy to have it. Most of these I got very good deals on, so if I had to pay a lot for 4 or 5 of them, it is what it is. It balances out in the end of the day. So I've never played this game. I have the game. I bought the special edition, scholarship edition of it, but I've yet to. And I got in the PlayStation 4. I bought it again to play on there. I bought almost all, but I think 2 PlayStation 2 games that you can play on the PlayStation 4 or Pro. And Bully is one of them. Carrot at ACG just loves this game to death. He did a really touching walking the walk on this that I really enjoyed. He's so good at those. His walking the walks to me, if he did nothing else and even skip reviews and just did the walking the walks, I would be in hog heaven. I could sit and just chain those all night and binge watch them. They're so good. But anyway, watch his walking the walk of this Bully Scholarship Edition. Really a good, fantastic game. I'm so anxious to play this. This is good. My friend Chris loved this. We played Manhunt together and played every Rockstar game together. He beat me getting through Red Dead Revolver, which I was jealous. We started to play at the same time, and I got stuck halfway through it, and he blew through it, and I always get frustrated over that. But he loved this and raved. I don't want to care about playing, being back in school. I hated high school. I hated being in school. But he said, dude, it's better than you think. And I see why now. I actually took the time to watch some old retro reviews of it and more modern ones, and it's quite good. So thrilled to have the Scholarship Edition, really good condition guide. I think it comes with a map. Oh yeah, here it is here. You got a huge map that pulls out with all of these, I don't know if they're hidden areas, but it's very cool. It's got all this, what is it? Errands. It looks like side quest missions and where you go to do those missions. So I love this kind of stuff. Very cool. Here's the one that's getting through the last of my Rockstar guides here. This cost me, and I mentioned this in my last vlog, $76 for this. It's in exceptional condition except for one thing, and that's the back corner was torn off of the cover. Now, for some people, fuck it, I'm not buying it. The deal's off. It's like they got to have it perfect. God forbid, To me, it's just a guide. Look, if this is the reason why I got it for $76, not $130 or $200 or $150, I'll take it. I'll take the whole back cover torn off. I hate to, but if I had to. So to me, it's a good trade-off. This is one of my top 3 favorite guides. I love this guide. The game is, I don't know what it is about this game. It's just mesmerizing. To me, it's my favorite of the 3. I haven't played Grand Theft Auto. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2 yet, although I have it. I don't even know if I can afford the guide for that. That's like $150, $200 and up. It's getting very expensive for the version that I want of it. But this Red Dead Revolver is this very wonderful game. Strange Japanese animation, but about the American West with really good spaghetti Western music, better than the music in the other 2 Red Dead Redemptions, frankly. And I have heard the music in both of them. A great game. I love this game so much. It's just filled with so much. Gets into how to do all of the bullet time that they had, their version of it called Jedi. Great level designs. There's maps in here. Just strategies and how to take down. This game is quite tough. Very challenging. You can get it on the PlayStation 4 digitally, along with most Rockstar games that were on the PlayStation 2. You can download. You have to buy them. We get torrential rains coming. You'll probably hear the rain. I don't know, but very happy to have this. Jeremy, thank you so much. He went out of his way and got this for me on eBay because he couldn't get it locally. And if you could find it, it was very expensive. So he got me the best deal. I said, at that price, jump on it. Doom 3. I used to have this guy too. I'm so happy to have this back. I think, this is an original, like an Xbox, because it was an Xbox game at the time. I'm playing single player, multiplayer maps, and tactics. A great game. I certainly have the BFG edition, which is backwards compatible on the new systems. And I do have a Doom 3, the original Doom 3, also backwards compatible. So very excited about this. It has all the maps, everything, locations for everything that you need. Great guide. I love these id games. So happy to have these. Speaking of id games, here's a really good one. I think, yeah, this is Raven and id, one of my favorite developers. Id, Raven, and I can't remember the other one. It'll occur to me, the one that did the Riddick game. Later went on a machine game. My memory's not great right now. But anyway, Quake 4. I even have the poster, which I'm having framed. I'm looking at it right over there. I'm getting ready to frame it. I've got the mat. I'm matting it and framing it. And I'm going to mat and frame all of these other posters I've got as well. This is a really good game. And what people don't realize is in 2000, I think it was 11 or 12, they reprinted the game. It had very choppy frame rate on the Xbox 360. It never performed right. I think it did great on the PC, but not on the Xbox 360. It was a real trouble game from day one. They made a new version with all the upgrades. It runs much better, but you got to find the one that was like reprinted in 2012. It'll come with a poster as well. I told Jeremy about it. He's going to try to get that version of the game. It's a really good game. I love Quake, excuse me, and I really love Quake 4. I don't think it gets enough love. Graded game, a great Raven Software game. Speaking of great games, this one I've mentioned before was the game. Even though I like the early PlayStation 1 Lara Croft, Tomb Raider games, this one really, for some strange reason, really just with the immersion of the PlayStation 2 early on, just blew my mind, and that's this Angel of Darkness Tomb Raider. This came with a nice poster. Unfortunately, someone took the poster out of it. So I might even find another version of this guy. I may get another guide that has the poster in it, because I love the Tomb Raider games. The only female protagonist that I put up with, because this was done before political correctness, this was done because it was just novel. It was cool. Oh wow, a woman in a game. Heavenly Sword 2 I thought was unique in that same, and I played that too. Just because it was different. My father-in-law had it, and I played it. I didn't go out and buy it necessarily, but I love the Tomb Raiders because of the Indiana Jones, obviously, tie-in to everything with the great, puzzles and hidden environments and all that stuff. This is a great game. Fairly clunky platforming, unfortunately. Kind of sticky like Duke Nukem Time to Kill is. You got to be absolutely perfect to latch on or jump up and grab something at times. A little frustrating going back today. To me, these games never age badly. It's just a matter of getting in the right mindset and enjoying them. But I really love this game. I had 2 copies of it and gave a copy of it to my friend Steve of the Tylord channel, which I shared a link to in my last video. Good buddy of mine. Here's another great game, which I played also at my father-in-law's. I say my father-in-law, it was my mother's new husband, Ray. He loved this game. He had this guide. I could have asked him for it, but I just wanted to buy my own. I only got the Uncharted 1 guide because it was very expensive, and I knew he wanted to give me all his guides. He's like, he's no idea, and I played them all to death. You can have all of them. Well, I've already bought most of these, but that's okay. Tomb Raider Underworld. Beautiful graphics. Crystal Dynamics was kind of taking the helm on the Tomb Raider games at this point and was really knocking it out of the park. This is, to me, a very impressive PlayStation 3 game, and it certainly looks and plays great, I'm sure, on the Xbox 360. I have that version, although I haven't played that version yet. I got pretty far into this game, maybe 2/3 of the way in, and then I was done working at my father-in-law's for a week. I've gone down several times, did wallpaper removal, did a lot of interior painting, then another time went down, painted the whole outside of his place, and donated my time. And so I just, at night, I would relish that time of sitting down and playing. Hey, let's play that Tomb Raider Underworld. Oh, okay. Well, here, Dean, I'll get you, create your own save file, and I just watch you play. Go ahead, And I really enjoyed watching him play because he was farther into it and unlocked the whole game. But great game, great graphics. She had a real cool motorcycle she could rail through the jungles with. This is a very nice guide, very handsome guide. It's one of these piggyback guides. They all have this black label. They did a lot of the Tomb Raider guides. It's a good quality strategy guide company. I have Resistance 1 and 2 guides, but now I finally have the Resistance 3 guide. It's not incredibly expensive. You can still find these fairly affordably. This is a great series. I've never played the second and third one, but I love the first one to death. It's such a good game, and it gets tough too. I've heard that the other ones are pretty challenging as well. A great guide. And I already showed my last one, the Uncharted 1 guide. Well, rain's really coming down on here. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Again, I could have got these from Ray. He had all of these, but I already kind of committed to Jeremy, and I said, that's okay, dude. Thank you. I'm just happy with the one. Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, Drake's Fortune. Or Drake's Deception, I mean. Wonderful guides. These are real, and you could use these guides with these kind of games. Really good to have. So you can see a theme here. I'm really kind of getting into the PlayStation 3 excuses at this point. And of course, what would PlayStation 3 strategy guide collection be without Killzone 2? This is one of my favorite FPS games of all time. Very challenging, really good graphics, and just a great game. Great concept, a great game. I don't know why. I know you guys like your Horizon Forbidden West or whatever the new ones, and Dawn or whatever it is. And they look nice. It's just not my thing. I want more Killzone, and I guess the Shadowfall didn't do great, so they went on to make something else. I wish they'd return to this. I really do. Even the Killzone Vita game is quite good. It's one of the better, Vita games. Not that I play the handhelds, but this is just such a great guide. And you need all the help and suggestions you can get. And it's cool with a 6-axis controller. You set depth charges. You turn the controller like you're ratcheting the thing to the column to set it. It's very cool. And of course the Killzone 3, this thing, you could kill somebody with this thing. It's really a heavy look and just a really handsome guide. This was expensive at the time, and it's got all of this quick reference cards built into it. Very neat with all the weapons, and I think it had multiplayer. This game had a lot of multiplayer. I could care less about online multiplayer, but I love the maps in these. So cool. Such a great guide, such a great game. I've got the Tomb Raider Trilogy. The only guide that I want to get now is the first one, Killzone, for the PlayStation 2, or you could get the remastered one that was on the PlayStation 3. This is one of my favorite guides. Of all of these guides I got, this was the one I was the most excited for. It's not in the greatest condition, unfortunately, but I'll show it. And it's a strange company. Never heard of Versus Books. Jeremy's actually has several of their strategy guides, so I'm learning about them. And it's Star Wars Jedi Outcast. Everyone knows this is my favorite game. Sadly, someone cut out, probably, I don't know if it was one of those barcode things that they cut out of it on the cover, which is tragic. I mean, in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I got all the pages inside, but what it did come with, a beautiful poster of like this cover, huge, which I'm going to lay flat for like a month with a sheet of plywood or cardboard over it and weight it down with books. I usually leave them for a month to 2 months, and it gets all the wrinkles out. We can barely see them because they were folded up and inside, these guides, unfortunately. But it looks a beautiful poster. God, I'm so excited to have it. What a wonderful treat. I can put up with a cutout, cover just for that. So I'm really excited about that. And again, this is my favorite Star Wars game of all of them. I don't know why. It just nails the feeling of being in the Imperial environments. I think that the level design is far more intricate and challenging on this than Academy. Academy has some great things. We can go to the light side or dark side, and you get your force powers and shit right away, which is great. But this is just such a good game, and thank God, thanks to my good friend Michael in New York, helped me to get the remastered versions from Aspire of this. Thank you, Michael, very much. I'm so appreciative. In fact, I owe him for the Republic Commando. I got to pay him for that. He got the limited run Republic Commando and Bounty Hunter for me, which I still owe him $80 or whatever it is for the 2 games, which is very reasonable. He's been really good to me, sending me some wonderful guides and gifts and things. But very, very thrilled with this. This is a wonderful game. My God, if you've never played it, play it on the PlayStation 2 original Xbox. I think it was on the GameCube and probably on PC, naturally. A wonderful game. And I had to get, naturally, the Jedi Academy to go with it. You can see a theme. I'm getting all the Star Wars guides. I already have the one for Bounty Hunter and my last thing, and Republic Commando. I've got both of the Coder 1 and 2 guides as well, so I'm slowly getting them all. I got some of the other ones too. I'll have to show them all my guides someday. My memory is just, head's jacked right now. We're getting near the end now. I love these games. I had Dead to Rights Retribution, but I did not have the guides for the first Dead to Rights game. This is an outstanding game, and this one is enhanced on the Xbox One X and probably the Series X as well. Much better graphics in widescreen. It's like 1080p. I mean, it looks better than it's ever looked. It's the ultimate way to play this game. And that game is very, very challenging. So I'm really happy to have this guide, which is going to help you get through some of the strategies. There's mini bosses in here that are really brutally tough and challenging, tough as nails. So this is a very welcome guide. The Xbox version's tougher, by the way, than the PlayStation 2 and GameCube versions by far. They went back and made it much easier for the other versions, so that's real inside information. And then what would the first one be without the second? Dead to Rights 2. This gets right into the action, not as great of a story and as in-depth and intricate and all over the place like the first one, but this is just more of a straightforward, kind of more repetitive, I would say, but very cool. This gets right in the action, but even more polished Max Payne type action, a lot of heavy bullet time in both of these guides and games. Very, very cool. And you got the dog, which you can call the sick on people. It lunges right for the throat, rips your throat out the way it should be. Great stuff. And the last two guides, and this game, a lot of people don't like it and dismissed it a little too quickly, I think, but I love this game. I played it all the way through on the original Xbox, and that's Medal of Honor European Assault. Why I got rid of the guide in the game, I had this guide at one time, I don't know. I got it when the game first came out. I love this game. The only thing about it that I wasn't crazy about, it kind of shows it on the back cover. You look closely, there's these huge, like, giant icons with health power-ups and little dog tags that are like, glowing blue and like huge, the size of a human in the game, spinning. Huge weapon and grenade power-ups floating. I mean, it's very video gamey in that respect. It totally breaks the immersion. But once you get into the game and give it a chance, the levels are quite good. Great level design, and it gets tough too. This is a great game. I love European Assault. I love these World War II Medal of Honor games. They're so good. And the final one, I have the Medal of Honor 2010 guide, which I got in my last pickups video, and the Warfighter one, both to me outstanding games. This is the last good World War II game, and that's Medal of Honor Airborne. A wonderful guide, and it came with, what's on this side, a wonderful poster. Huge of that inset there. So I'm just so thrilled to have this. I played it this morning. I'm stuck on the last level. I died again. I had this SS like shock trooper with a huge, it wasn't an MP40. It was like one of those, 30 or 50 caliber machine guns, anti-aircraft, like a tripod gun. He's holding at the waist at hip firing and is just spraying me with bullets. Oh wow, the thunder's really coming in. We have some hellacious storms here in Idaho. The weather changes like that. It's bright sunshine and it's snowing the next minute. It was 71 degrees and the same day we had snow that night. It's just crazy. But anyway, this guy's coming, a shock trooper. It came out of left field. Game almost gave me a heart attack around the corner. He's just spraying me with things. I didn't know whether to embrace the guy and give the guy a hug. I was so happy to see him. Or to throw a grenade at him. And by the time I got a grenade out and tried to hold it and cook it, he got me and I died. And then, of course, you get a parachute back. And that's my only frustration with this game, is you get a re-parachute back in, right, start the whole level over. So it's quite unforgiving in that respect. You die, you make it, if you can even make it through this last level, say you're 2/3 of the way and you've been killing yourself, and God forbid you die, you're going to start that whole level all the way over from the beginning. That's my only gripe with it, but better that than dying in real life, I guess. It's quite fun. Very realistic in some respects. The really good graphics for its time. The AI is not bad. It's pretty good. Sometimes they're kind of dumb and you can sneak right up on them, and other times, man, they're tough as shit. A wonderful game, wonderful levels, wonderful tips inside, beautiful graphics that goes over all the guns and details of every level, and what you're going to encounter and the best way to approach a situation. Here's the Flak Tower level. I mean, it's so cool. It shows you all the best places to land, where the hidden power-up things are. Just such a great guide. So I'm dying to beat the last level. And so thanks, Jeremy, for showing me how to go in and save everything to that goddamn cloud, you know, so I can... Then once you have it in the cloud, for your old 360 saves from 10, 15 years, whatever years ago, now you've got those in the cloud. So that way you don't have to play the game over. Not that I'd be opposed to it, because it's really good. It's been quite a few years since I've actually played it. But it's nice. Now I can play Max Payne 3. I'm on the last level of Max Payne 3, and I'll have that beat. Same thing with this. So now I can finish these without having to go through and replay them and find all the gold gun parts and all that stuff. But anyway, guys, that's my pickups video. You can see that was a shitload of well, a shitload of guides. Here they are. Tons of them. That's a lot of guides. I got a sprained wrist right now, but that's a ton of guides. It must weigh a ton. It cost a lot of money to ship. The box is so heavy, I sprained my wrist. My ladder slipped on a 2-story, and I had to grab the roof line with my right hand. I just dropped my brush. Luckily, it didn't went in the dirt and land on the guy's driveway. And I held myself up from the edge of the roof, and then with my feet try to get my ladder to straighten out so I could climb back down. It was a very uneven side of this house with hilly and rocky terrain, and it was just hard to really get the ladder to anchor in there. It was slightly crooked. It's the only way I could get it. And so I twisted, I sprained my right wrist bad. It's so painful. I have a feeling it's fractured. I keep working on it because I can't afford the time off. I just keep working, but it was painful just to lift those guides. But I'm so happy to have these guys. I don't know if you're into strategy guides, and I know most of you probably aren't, but a few of you like them. You know how special they can be. It's like going into a time capsule of when that game was new, when the guide was new. And you're going through and you're seeing levels and things that you'd forgotten about. You see things that maybe you were never meant to see. I mean, when I played Time to Kill Duke Nukem on the PlayStation 1, I didn't even know there was a guide till 20 years later. Then when I saw the guide, there was one secret area I never could figure out. I went back. My God, it was so easy. I went nuts. I went through the whole game, went backtracked, could not find it. And it's like the guide just made it so easy. And back then, I didn't even know about the internet. You can go on and get questions. So I beat Myst and Duke Nukem Time to Kill, a lot of those games without any help. There was no internet. And there was a guide. Of course, I didn't know because I didn't know there was a guide. My store never had them. If my store didn't have it, it didn't exist. I'm not going to drive to every store to think that there's one store has a guide and one doesn't. So there's so many games I didn't play because of that dynamic, and certainly guides. So anyway, I thought you might like that. There are a couple games there, but a lot of pickups. I'm back in my studio again. You can see this is my desk. I'll kind of move this camera around. I've got my computer. Here's where I do all my editing. Here's my Xbox 360 that's hooked up to my 46-inch Samsung. And it's a good, very comfortable desk. And I've got all my games you can see there. I've got on my bookshelf, which is a mess right now. Those are all my backwards compatible games I had to take off the shelf. And some of those are actually going to be for, I'm using, let me set this back up a little bit better. I'm using for my next video, which I'm going to show. I'm going to try to show 30 if I can. I've got 25 right now, and I can easily get 30, maybe even 40, but I'll get a lot of good games that I think are well worth getting an Xbox 360 for, because it's a great console. And the backwards compatibility is great, but I have a feeling, guys, it's not always going to be there. Someday the console is going to be turned off. It'll be a brick, sadly. But if you have the 360, you can play the games offline, all of them. The ones that were backwards compatible, the ones that weren't backwards compatible. It's the same thing. The PlayStation 3, I'm still learning and finding ways. I got to find a way to change that CMOS clock thing so that it doesn't die, and then I got to basically toss that thing because I'll lose all my save files and it loses its connection to the internet, and then you can't reset everything or whatever it is. It's just, I hate these technical things that keeps a console from lasting you your lifetime, because I care about preserving my legacy of good games to play. And you should too. Right now you may not think about that, but the day will come where you're going to look back maybe at 38, maybe at 41, maybe at 50, maybe at 53, but you're going to look back. For me, it was right around 49 to 50, and all of a sudden I just had this overwhelm. I started watching Classic Game Room, and I remember that. That was great, yeah. And God, I kind of miss that game, and geez, it'd be kind of nice to play that game again if I could. geez, I should have kept my PlayStation 2. What was I thinking? You know, and you start realizing it's like all of a sudden the realization, like, I really fucked up. And then you see what the games cost to buy them all back, and that's going to cost a lot of money, but I'll have the games back and I can enjoy playing them. And that's basically what this is all about. That's why I do this. This is why I do these vlogs, and I built this, you know, my game collection here. You can see my other Xbox collection over there on the shelf. I've got all my original Xbox games and a few PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 and 3 games there. And it's awesome to have these things back in my life. It means so much to me. Oh, the other thing I got, which I already installed, I don't have it here, it's right over in the other table, but I got the red N64 expansion chip, or it looks like a memory card kind of, and it snaps in. Expansion pack, they call it. It's red, has a bunch of little holes in the top of it, and it goes in where you put your little save file thing in your N64 so you can save your game progress. And it makes like games like Doom 64, they look much better. They play better if you have the expansion pack, or the Star Wars games, you know, on there. So thank you, Jeremy. He found, what he did is he found it was a yard sale or a thrift store, but he found really cheap a whole N64. And he got it basically because it had the red expansion pack in it, which he already owned one, but he knew I needed it. And he wouldn't have minded an extra N64 just to have it. So he got it. He said, Dean, you know, give me $20 for the expansion. I paid $40 for it. Give me $20 for the expansion thing, and it's yours. I go, oh, dude, that's great. Those things are $50 and up now. They're getting very expensive, and they're going up fast. So if you need one of those guys, get one. And I've got to invest. My good friend Michael's got a really well-made HDMI upscaler that I can play all the N64 and Sega Genesis and PlayStation 1 games, all of it, on my modern TVs. Now, I've got this TV here. This is a 2009 flagship Samsung. This is the best they had. They only had 46 and 52 inches then. And that one's a fantastic, it still looks amazing. I mean, it's not 4K, but it looks great. But what's good about it is the back, it has composite, component, S-video, everything. I can hook my VCR up to this. I can play my PlayStation 2 games and 1 games, or play PlayStation 1 games via my PS2 Slim on this. And man, they look great. And my modded Xbox, my God, looks so good on this TV. Same with my modded PlayStation 2. I added like a 160 gig hard drive so I can install like 20 of my favorite PlayStation 2 games, at least those that are, you can do that with, install them straight to the hard drive. The PS2 is quite finicky with that. With the Xbox, you can install pretty much any game. But the PS2 is very, like, you can install, like, you know, Manhunt 2 in it, but not Manhunt 1. It's just bizarre. Just a lot of weird, like, what the F, you know. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I can ramble on and on and on, as you know. I'm just so happy to be back on YouTube and so happy to get back in gaming again. It's meant so much to me, and I've been so encouraged by my good friends Jeremy and others. Check out Jeremy's channel. I have a link below. You really enjoy it. Great vlogs. A very cool guy. Knows everything about collecting any game you can think of. He's very knowledgeable, good with the variants. He's building on his strategy guide collection too, because he knows they're going to go up, and I'd rather pay $1,000 for him now than to pay $3 to $5 grand for him, you know, 5, 6, 10 years from now. So I'm happy to get what I've got, and I only could afford a budget for this amount, and I got what I wanted for that amount. Yeah, it'd be nice to have another dozen of them, but it's okay. Eventually, I'll get them eventually, and they still haven't gone to stratosphere prices yet. So. But games are going up, all of these, you know, and this game, any PS2 games are going up. There's games now that, you know, used to be $6 to $8 that are now are 20, 30, 40, $50 now, even more than original Xbox games. I don't know why, but nostalgia, I guess. Things are going up. COVID screwed it up. You know, this inflation thing hasn't helped, obviously. It's tough times, but thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you watching so much. Thank you for the positive support and comments I get. I really do. It really means a lot to me. And just enjoy your life. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week ahead. And enjoy those games. That's what this is all about. All right, guys. Bye.